Hey everybody, welcome to this week's Market Snapshot. What's happened in the Northern Virginia real estate market in the last 7 days in under 5 minutes. Here we go. Okay, so as always, we are going to go over what's happened in the last 7 days in the Northern Virginia real estate market, specifically Fairfax County, but it's been pretty consistent throughout Northern Virginia, Loudoun County, Prince William County. But just let's dive in. Let's see what's going on. We are about to go into Memorial Day weekend, so that is going to have an effect on everything. It's going to make some changes for this next week or two, and then we're going to have schools that are going to be changing again as well. So just throwing this out there for buyers that this time of transition is when buyer activity really slows down quite a bit. So if you are considering purchasing a property, this next couple weeks is a really good time for you to do it because there's going to be a lot less competition. So let's take a look and see what the numbers actually say for us for what happened in the last 7 days. So as you can see here, the black line is our buyer activity and the blue line is our inventory. So inventory is our supply, buyer activity is our demand, and we look at supply versus demand to determine what the strength of the market is so that we know, are prices going up, are they going down, are we having to bid higher, are we having to be prepared for multiple offer situations, what are we looking at? So with buyer activity, it increased this last week and it's at this level. Now look at how the market in general has just been going. There's been a ton of market activity, much more market activity than this time last year. So you can see that it's been a pretty busy year. But the difference is we have a lot of inventory this year. So last year our inventory was down here, this year it's up here. So it's almost matching buyer demand. Now, buyer activity, you see inventory in the last 2 weeks dropped. So buyer activity dropped, but usually the buyer activity is going to lag behind what the inventory is doing, because if there's no inventory to buy, then the buyer activity is going to drop down. So it lagged down, it lagged down right here, but in spite of this drop here, it still went up. And then we had this increase in inventory here. So this was a significant jump in inventory. So what happened is, with this being such a significant jump, we really closed that gap between the supply versus demand. So if we go down here to our seller's market versus buyer's market, again, the little gray line right here, that is our normal market. That's a good, healthy neutral market. Anything above it is a seller's market. Anything below it's a buyer's market. You can see that we moved a little bit further towards that neutral market. So what I expect to see to happen over the next week or two is we'll probably dip down into a little bit of a buyer's market, simply because, unless inventory falls off as well, but simply because people are going to be out of town for the Memorial Day weekend, and then we'll be back in town for a week or two, and then school's going to get out, so vacations are going to begin, and we're going to just see a lot of it's going to be a lot of transition. So when that happens, again, buyer activity drops out. So we may hover down here in a buyer's market for a couple weeks. So this could be a good opportunity for buyers. I know that interest rates went up over 7% this last week, so that also will cause some buyers to pull back. So we're going to see that the buyers pulling back a little bit. So if you're considering buying, now is the time to jump in and do it. Sellers, you have to be realistic with your property. You have to price it appropriately. You have to prepare it, because there is competition out there. You cannot be overpriced, and you cannot just throw something onto the market. If you do prepare it correctly and you price it appropriately, you will get top market value. You may get multiple offers. You may only get one offer, but it will be at that top market value because you'll be able to sell in that first weekend or so. So sellers, you've got to play this very, very well. Buyers, it's a great opportunity for you to get out there. You have choices, and there's just opportunity. All right, if you guys have any questions about this, if you're a buyer and you'd like us to walk through a buyer strategy session with you, show you how to get access to the multiple listing service, get access to off-market properties, work with your lender to get your best interest rates possible. Basically come up with a good strategy to protect you as you're going through the buying process. If you'd like to do that, we do the buyer strategy sessions. We do those for free. And for our sellers, what we do is we'll come out to the house, we'll meet with you there, we'll do a walkthrough of the house, we'll give you a staging recommendation, like how to prepare the house, any remodeling or updates that might be recommended, or any work to be done on the house. We'll guide you on that so that you know what to put the money into, so that you'll actually get a return on the investment versus spending money on things that won't get you a return. And we'll help you see what the value of your house is in this market, especially with this changing market. We'll show you what you can do with that property. Again, no charge to sellers on that. So if you're a buyer and you'd like your strategy session, or if you're a seller and you'd like your strategy session, reach out to us. Our number is 703-783-2143, and we will see you guys next week on the Market Snapshot.